why do you call yourself, or why do you consider yourself a teacher? Naisip niyo na ba kung bakit tinatawag niyo yung mga sarili as teacher? Bakit naging teacher kayo? I'm sure you have different reasons, di ba, for that. Now, what I'd like you to do is to use your bond paper. Okay, then write all the reasons why you consider yourself a teacher. Then, you have to trace out your handprint on the given piece of paper. Trace nyo yung handprint ninyo on that piece of paper. Write your name on the palm of your handprint. And then, you have, of course, 5 fingertips, diba? So, you have to list out the thoughts on the fingertips. Yung nalista nyo dyan sa bond paper, i-distribute nyo dun sa fingertips, sa handprint ninyo. This time, I have here sticks, and there are colorful ones. I want you to choose your favorite color, or pick up your favorite color. This time, pwede bang tumayo, at saka hanapin ninyo ang may pagkaparehong kulay ng lollipop sticks. Okay, present your stick. Hanapin ninyo ang magkaparehong kulay. And then decide which table you are going to stay. Go together. Yes. Asan yung pink? Yung ano ba yung red ba yun or pink? Yung orange, yung violet. Yes. What color is that, sir? Natural color, yung white. Okay, settle yourselves now. As a group, yung magkaparehong kulay. And then share your thoughts. Di ba meron kayong dinajot down? You share with your colleagues. Yung magkapareho kayong kulay, di ba? Okay, you share. Why do you consider yourself as a teacher? You share. Na? And then I will go around and give you this Manila paper. And what you are going to do is to put all together all your handprints. And you have to describe, okay, what is, or you have to tell or express here what is common among you, na ninyong apat. And then come up with creative, okay, say, shall we say, illustration of your handprints. Nakuha ninyo? As I have said, you have to put all together your handprints and come up with a creative design or presentation of handprints.
I'm fond of imparting my skills. I want to touch lives of the learners, and I want continuous learning, and I'm enjoying with the learners. Yung kay sir naman, so the reasons are delivering the knowledge to the learner for equipping a better society, to be a better society member. So another one is affecting the lives, and what's the last one, sir? The truths on a subject matter and lives holistically. And then the third one, sir, is guiding the learners. So we have two common reasons, yung touching lives and imparting the knowledge to the learners. So siguro naman that is the major reason why we are here. That we want to really impart what we know about the subject matters that we are teaching. So actually, ako nga, I'm not really an education graduate eh. I just took up education units just to be a teacher. And now I'm here already teaching. Yan. Thank you. Siguro in some points I'm still thinking na why am I here in this I am calling it already totoong it's a vocation. Kasi I'm already teaching for more than 10 years. Parang hindi na dapat ako lumabas kasi kung lalabas pa ako. Pero I'm enjoying it. Masasabi kong I'm enjoying it kasi more than a decade, for sure I'm enjoying it. Ayan. Thank you.
Okay, palakpakan natin sila. Ma'am Eloy and Sir Albert. You see? Next, we have the output from the Transformers. Okay, where are they? Okay, yes. I think you will just have to highlight that which is common among you.
Hello, good morning, everyone. From the group of Transformers, we have that insight that's common to us, almost like the group of Ma'am Eloy. That is, if you are going to read all the things that we have written there, it will come up to that one, that we touch lives, and we are agents of change to nation building. Halos ano nga na nga ma'am iniisip namin kanina. I just would like to add. Kasi yung agent of change, we connect people. So, connecting people, sabi nga namin kanina, parang PLDT and Nokia. So, the provider and the unit, parang ganon. Yun ma'am, for us. Thank you.
Very good. Palakpakan natin yung Transformers. So you see, Transform, bigat yun Move from the movie itself. Okay, next group, we have the church. Ano namang meron dito sa church?
Okay, our collaborative effort, we make a common thing, no? That as a teacher, we teach learners, a Filipino learner, to develop and improve their skill towards productive changes of society.
Nice answer. Okay, palakpakan natin sila. Okay, next we have Mithing Pangandoy. This Pangandoy, ma'am. Especially for those who don't know what Pangandoy means.
Mithing Pangandoy in English, that's ultimate dream. So we are the dreamers in the group. If you would see our symbols, our fingers are actually interconnected with each other. We started with the activity by asking one question. Gusto mo ba talaga maging teacher? And then it surprises us that most of us, one of us dreams to be an accountant, and then the other one wants to be an engineer. I wanted to be a doctor, and then the other one wants to be a nurse. And the two of us, si ma'am nurse and ako, doctor, we are actually children of teachers as well. So we went into that field. And then, from that then on, we asked, why go into education? First, of course, the capabilities of the parents sending us to our dreams, our dream profession. But then we learned to love the profession. And then, sabi ko nga ako, I was a teacher before, then I resigned, double the salary, and then I went back to teaching. Of course, kalahati ulit yung salary. But it's the vocation, it's the passion that made me go back. So yung fingers namin, it was intertwined, and then inside it, it writes there, our dream to be somebody is now our dream for students to become. So kung hindi man kami magiging teacher, doctor, accountant, and engineer, we could produce one. And for having students to achieve that, it's like also achieving our dreams in our own little way. So kung hindi ka magiging doctor, kapag nag-student kang doctor, it's like being one as well.
Palakpak, kanilang grupo. So you see, you are indeed very much creative for you to come up with the name for your group. So you have the group of Mithing Pangandoy, Touching Lives, then Transformers and Church. Then from there, what can we say about the kind of educators you are? You are all vibrant educators. No wonder, okay? Students will have to learn much from you, and students will have to gain, okay, from these strategies or from what you have learned, and then translate what you have learned to them. And then these students will definitely become successful. It's because of you. Even though you have different, say, before it was not actually your choice, okay, to be a teacher. But since siguro later na-love nyo na yon, di ba? Okay. And then since nandito na rin lang tayo naging teacher, wala na tayong magawa, but you really have to totally embrace it, di ba? Otherwise, walang mayayari. Wala tayong magawa para maging successful yung mga learners natin. Now, why do we have this activity as our starter activity? Now, before kayo nag-come up ng ideas or thoughts, did you care to ask your group members kung ano mga pangalan nila? Tinanong niyo na ba sila kung ano mga pangalan? Uy, magka-grupo pala tayo. Anong pangalan niyo po? What school are you? Oh, okay? So, hindi pa, di ba? Parang kusa na lang, nagkaroon kayo ng band, o nag-share kayo ng thoughts and ideas. And then later nyo na lang malaman ang kanilang mga pangalan, di ba? Okay, so this is one way of, okay, introducing yourselves. Parang you have to speak up and let somebody know about your idea na parang makapag-spell out din ng kung anong klaseng person ka, di ba? And then, until such time that the person, siya na lang mismo yung magsabi, ay, ikaw pala si Albert. Hanggang sa makasanayan na, tawagin Albert, o Dorothy, Eloy, and others. Diba? Okay. And so, we have to proceed to developing the 21st century skills, which is our topic for Module 1. Okay, the 21st century skills. Have you also asked yourselves, kung gagraduate sa school ninyo ang inyong mga estudyante, natanong niyo na ba sa inyong mga sarili kung ano yung mga essential skills na meron sila for them to be able to know and survive in the 21st century workplace? Oh, nung graduate, di ba? Last March, natanong nyo na ba, anong mayayari ng graduates ko? Ng mga graduates ko? Maging successful kaya sila? Natanong nyo na po ba yun? So, there is a need for us to find out. And then, of course, pag natanong mo yan, tanungin mo yung sarili mo. What have you done? Have you equipped these learners with those skills for them to be better prepared, to be able to survive in the 21st century workplace? Kasi nabanggit na rin lang kahapon ni Dr. Mel, di ba? Sa panahon ngayon, okay, kinakailangan na humabol, di ba? And then we teachers should be the first one to do that. Dapat tayo ang pro, di ba? Kuminsan kasi naunahan tayo ng mga estudyante, but that should not be. Kaya tayo nandito because we would like to go with what's going on, di ba? Para mas mauna natin ma-impart sa bata kung ano ang dapat. Okay, to gain that lifelong learning or for them to be equipped with life skills. Now, we have here the different workplace scenarios. Please go over on the Appendix A. We have the 21st century workplace scenarios. Actually, there are only 2 scenarios here. We have scenario 1, the health services. Please open your module on A01. And then we have scenario 2, the office services. Okay, the church and transformers will have to we have to discuss. First, century workplace scenario, the health services. Where are the church and transformers? Church transformers. Okay, deal with the health services. Yes, 2 groups. But ano lang, dun lang kayo, stay there. Okay, church and then transformers. And then, for the office services will be dealt with or will be discussed by Touching Lives and Meeting Pangandoy. Okay, you read it quietly, then afterwards, share. Okay, from this scenario, you have to identify the skill for the 21st century workplace. Ano yung skill na meron doon sa scenario? Ilista ninyo. Okay, read and then discuss from among yourselves. Okay, were you able to identify already these skills? Now, why is it important skill for the 21st century workplace? So rank the skills. This time, rank the skills in order of what can be facilitated in the classroom. What can be facilitated in the classroom? Di ba, ina-identify nyo na yung 21st century skills in the workplace. I-rank nyo sila, yung skills. So what are those skills that can be facilitated in the classroom? Until you will have to get 5 essential skills. Yung top 5. Nakuha ninyo yung ibig kong sabihin. Yung una, ina-identify ninyo yung skill, 21st century skills from the workplace scenario. Then afterwards, dinidiscuss ninyo, nagsishare kayo, nagdagdag siguro kayo ng skills, di ba? And dinajustify, ni-explain nyo. Tapos, irarank nyo sila, and then come up with 5 important skills. What you consider as important skills. Now, this time, that can be facilitated in the classroom. Now, decide who will be the group's rapporteur to share in the big group what they have discussed. So, ano isi-share dito sa big group? You have to briefly summarize the workplace scenario. Then afterwards, draw out those 5 skills, yung nirarank ninyo. And then explain why do you consider these skills to be significant for the students to learn or to be applied in the classroom. Be developed, okay, among the students. Okay? The first group to volunteer. The Transformers group. Okay, palakpakan natin yung Transformers group.
Scenario po pala namin ay tungkol sa isang hospital na mayroong isang nurse. So siya po yung tumatanggap ng lahat ng patients. So lagi silang full loaded. So araw-araw sa kanila halos maraming dumarating na pasyente. So dito in-exercise niya yung iba't ibang skills na sa palagay na pinili namin. So we have chosen 5. So una po ay ang critical thinking and systems thinking. Dahil meron pong isang scenario dito na may dumating na pasyente, 7 kids were injured in a bus accident. Tapos habang ina-attend niya yung 7, may dumating pa na isang mother na may daladalang anak na hindi na makahinga. So, ang pinili niya, yung bata na hindi makahinga. So, yung choice po niya, tiningnan niya kung alin yung mas grabe ang posibleng maging mangyari. Kasi yung iba po ay wala pong nilagay kung matindi yung injury eh. So, kaya naisip niya siguro yung hindi na makahinga yung una niyang i-attend kasi mas malaki yung risk. So, pangalawa po, skill ay ang problem identification, formulation, and solution. So, inanalyze niya yung sitwasyon. Okay, kung alin ang mas kailangang bigyan ng lunas kaagad doon sa dalawang problema. Pangatlo po ay yun nga po yung social responsibility, yung interest ng community. So, hindi dahil ito yung nauna, ito yung aasikasuhin ko. So, since pangalawa po mas nangangailangan, so yun po yung binigyan ng attention. Third po ay ang accountability and adaptability. So since ang trabaho po niya ay halos napakarami talaga, hindi pa tapos yung isa, may darating na. So yun po yung isa. And last is the communication skills. Since hindi siya marunong ng salita ng Ilocano, gumawa siya ng paraan para magkaroon ng communication. Humanap po siya ng interpreter para po doon. Malaman niya kung ano nangyari doon sa sitwasyon ng bata at ma-realize niya na hindi naman pala ganun kagrabe yung sitwasyon.
How about the other group? Next group.
Good morning everyone. In Surigao noon, maradyaw na buntag sa Ijo Horot. Okay, so from our output, from the meeting Pangandoy. So, from scenario 2, we identified the skills, no? The 21st century skills. So, una is we identify what is being applied on that particular scenario, yung accountability at adaptability. Then, communication skills, creativity and intellectual curiosity, then applicable din yung interpersonal and collaborative skills, problem identification, formulation and solution, self-direction, and social responsibility. So as we talk each other, so we identify the 5 21st century skills which can be applied in our classroom. So we rank 1, the problem identification. So nang una talaga dapat malaman natin kung ano ang problema. Then yung accountability. So yung dapat malaman natin yung responsibility natin, or for example in a classroom setting, so as a teacher, you are accountable with your students, with your learners. Yung mga pinaggagawa mo sa yung mga estudyante, dapat they have responsibility to do it, to submit it on time. Then tapos, yung pangatlo is critical thinking. So dapat mag-isip, no? Then number 4, interpersonal and collaborative skills. In a classroom setting, dapat merong teamwork. So, as a facilitator in teaching, no? So, dapat marunong ka kung paano gagawin or else yung ma-develop sa mga estudyante yung cooperation, then teamwork. Para mas in a classroom setting kasi mas maganda na dapat yung mga bata ay let us say, for example, gumagawa sila ng sabay-sabay. They will come out to a common goal, no? Yung output nila. Then, next is creativity, no? So, yun yung 5 21st century skills that could be applied in the classroom.
Okay. Ang pinili niyo na scenario ay yung Scenario 2, have you briefly summarized it? Yes, okay. Okay, do you have questions regarding the output of Meeting Pangandoy? Anything to add? Okay, palakpakan natin sila. Next, we have the church. The church group. This time.
Hello, maayong buntag. Maayong buntag, mga Bisaya ni. Sa grupo po namin, the scenario was the same with the scenario of the group of Transformers. But we decided to rank it. No, actually, all of those skills were present in the scenario. But the top 5 are the following. We have ranked number 1 as the critical thinking because the nurse should choose right away, should be decisive, no, to the situation that a mother is bringing a sick person, a sick child, no? Meron pa silang ibang ginagamot na mga pasyente. So she must be decisive in that time. So we rank critical thinking as number 1 skill. And number 2 is accountability. So not with, ano yan? So not with threatening, ang yung nurse, so she must be accountable with the child who has difficulty in breathing compared to the 7 injured children. All right. And thirdly, communication. Communication skill was a problem there because she doesn't understand the Ilocano language. So, and the 4th was problem identification. So she demonstrated a systematic logical thinking. And lastly, self-direction. She assured the patient that everything is under control, no, with the help of the different results, no, and records of the child by seeing the records, the database of the child. So, thank you.
Okay, palakpakan natin ang church group. Touching lives naman.
Good morning. So the scenario given to us is the scenario letter B, number 2. This is all about the BPO industry. And the situation is that there was limited employees, especially on the transcribers. And there was so much workload on the part of Joyce. Joyce is the name of the um, lady, the employee, and then and there was a situation wherein she was asked to deliver the transcript. That's transcript. I don't know the exact terms in the so the transcript, maybe the documentations on the next day, and there are the schools and case may kaso pa at saka yung the president itself is asking for the transcript to be submitted even in the inconvenience of the other companies. So this BPO is actually have that outstanding figure in the society. So they have to maintain this, and in order to give that, so they have to deliver the proper services. Now, on the part of Joyce, nakita niya yung load na napakabigat. So una naming nakita rito na na skill is accountability and adaptability. First of all, yun kasi ay dahil sa name na kanilang mini-maintain, they have to deliver the service. So they have to take the responsibility as accountable for that to the client. So yun ang una. And then na-identify ni Joyce yung problem. So the second skill is problem identification, formulation, and solution. So upon identifying the problem, she asked the supervisor in the name of Thomas, so to help her in this situation and find out solution by looking for the freelance transcriber. And then so they have discussion maybe, and so that they identify the solution. With that, the skills needed is critical thinking and systems thinking. And added to that, we have also the interpersonal and collaborative skills para tulungan talaga ito. And then next on that is information and media literacy skills. Yan po.
Okay, palakpakan natin ang lahat ng grupo na nag-share. Okay, so isa lang yung ibig sabihin nun. Kung nagbabago ang ating kapaligiran, nagbabago ang workplace, nagbabago ang, say, kung anong, yung sa society, di ba? Yung workplace natin, kahit na tao, reason that the schools will not have to go with the change. So much more na ang school ay dapat na maging isang, kumbaga, siya yung maging number one agent of that change para laging handa ang ating mga estudyante. Okay, isipin na lang natin, gagraduate sila, hindi sila marunong mag-computer. They do not know how to use the technology to write a letter using electronic letter, ganyan, email. Okay, Facebook lang alam nila. Hindi naman natutunan sa school, kundi sa labas lang, di ba? Okay, so dapat unang-una dun sa school. And you start it in you. Okay. So here, in 21st century schools, students work on complex, challenging tasks that require them to think deeply about subject matter and manage their own learning. Manage their own learning. So hindi yung parang spoon feeding, di ba? We'll have to give them, or provide them activities that will enhance their creativity and discover learning through our guidance, of course. And then collaborate with peers, teachers, and experts on meaningful tasks using higher order thinking. So just like you, when you have this chance to solicit ideas from your group mates. So same is true to our students. We have to have them collaborate themselves. Hindi natin i-sink in sa kanilang isip na they have the monopoly of learning. Okay, na hindi lang ang teacher ang may monopoly of learning, di ba? Oh, dapat collaborative. Okay, students and teachers both learn. Okay, and then use technology to make decisions, solve problems, and create new ideas. So that's why i-guide natin sila na alam nila kung paano gagamitin, paano i-maximize tong technology na to. Hindi lang doon sa Facebook, dapat matutunan din nila kung paano nila ma-enhance yung lesson through the use of Facebook. Paano sila makipag-communicate sa ibang, not only to their classmates, to their schoolmates, but also to the experts in the community. Okay. And then, let us try to identify again what are these 21st century skills. Okay, we have 1, accountability and adaptability. 2nd, communication skills. Then 3rd, creativity and intellectual curiosity. Then 4th, critical thinking and systems thinking. Then 5th, information and media literacy skills. Then 6th, interpersonal and collaborative skills. Then 7th, problem identification, formulation, and solution. And then 8th, self-direction. And 9th, social responsibility. Are these 21st century skills clear to you? Or meron pa kayong idadagdag sa listahan ng mga skills na to? Ano kaya yun? Meron ba kayo hindi nakita, na hindi na-identify? Sa palagay niyo kaya ay totoo ito nangyayari? At totoo talaga na ito ay dapat na ma-develop sa ating mga estudyante? Yes or no? Okay. Now let's proceed to comparing classrooms of today with classrooms of tomorrow. Okay, please refer to your module, page 14. Anong year ba kayo pinanganak? Sino dito yung nasa 70s? Nasa 60s? Wala? 70s? 1970, 71, 72. Walang 60s. Puro kayo bata. Ayan, 1960s, 70s, 80s. Aba, 90s. Wala naman. Okay. Maalala niyo pa ba kung paano kayo tinuruan ay yung mga teachers? Naalala niyo pa ba? Nagustuhan niyo ba kung paano kayo tinuruan ng inyong teacher? Bakit? Or if you are going to share or to try to recall, how were you taught yesterday? Ano yung mga nagustuhan nyo? Ano ang mga hindi nyo nagustuhan? Ano yung mga dapat na baguhin? Okay, so what you're going to do is to list down. Okay, how were you taught when you attended school? Elementary, yung mga unang magpa-pop up sa inyong isip. Then what did you like about how you were taught? Kaya anong nagustuhan ninyo kung paano niyo natutunan yon? And then what were your frustrations about how you were taught? Ano may yung hindi niyo nagustuhan na parang dapat sana ganito, ganyan eh. Please refer to page 14. Okay, list down your thoughts. Answer the column, how you were taught, then what you liked, and then what were your frustrations. Isip. have here, example. How you were taught. Teacher lectured, we copy what's on the blackboard. And then what you liked, it is easy to get a good grade. I only need to read the book and memorize my notes. Frustration, I could not ask questions. Only the teacher determines my final grade. That's the sample answer. Pag-isip. Okay, now share it among yourselves. Share. Share your experience.
Okay, so for us at Transformers Group, we have ideas on how you were taught, what you liked, what your frustrations were. No? What we really like about the old style of teaching, the Cordapia style, the Farrah Fawcett hair of the teachers, what we really liked about them were the discipline in the classroom. They imposed discipline, no iron discipline, the authoritarian teacher, everything is about them. And that's where we also see the fault of those types of teachers. Because too much authoritarianism on their part led to repressions on the children. Now, my example, I hate math, even today. I'm already a doctor and I still hate math. Because when I was in grade 1, let me share you a bit of a story. My teacher, if we are going to make a mistake in our multiplication, we're asked to, not asked, we're ordered or really punished with a chalk, and we're going to bite it out. And we have to stand at the corner. So one time, my mother is also a teacher. I practiced at the house having how many chalks, and my mother was saying, "Naunsa ka in Bisaya, what's wrong with you?" So, until that time, that's why I still does not like the way mathematics has been taught. And even today, even if there are new ways, I have already my phobia of mathematics. That's why I'm very excited of learning Excel because all grades are there, the MIS, so I like the ICT. This is the frustration that I had. And now, because of modern technology, as modern teachers, we have already bridged the gap from the old to the new. And we are here not to replicate the cycle of violence that has been going on in the classroom, but we are here to placate the spirits that have long been repressed. So thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Sir Janry. Thank you, Transformers. Pang-ilan nyo na to? Kayong first. Okay, so rote memorization, di ba? Na pag hindi agad nakapag-memorize, hindi maayos yung pagka-memorize ng multiplication table, o doon ka, tayo. And then with the punishment, the chalk, di ba? Pinapa-bite. Oh. Then, what Sir Jancy liked? What is that? What kind of punishment is that? Corporal punishment, which is... But then meron ding, di ba? Yung side din nila yung advantage na challenge sila, parang na-oblige sila na matuto. Pero kaya lang, hindi, parang walang meaning, di ba? Kasi forced. Okay. Then, frustrations, yun. Okay, the effect on him. Na-trauma na si Sir. Okay, next. Yes, Ma'am Eloy. Next time naman, pag ibang group naman. Yes.
And good morning. So sa amin yung how you were taught. Pare-parehas naman chalk and board. Tapos, kasi ako, I grew up in, I'm a proud alumna of Ma'am Rina's school, yung Parañaque National High School. I grew up in Parañaque. So, what I like most kasi nga, ako naman, sir, I don't hate math. I love math. Ang ayaw ko yung CBCA ba yun? Araling panlipunan because of so many words and then you're just going to take the test ng mga 50 items. You don't know what will come out. So ako, yung what I like most, yung kasi I can still remember a teacher na how she taught Araling Panlipunan as if we are just telling stories. Kahit yung mga Confucius, yung mga Lao-Tzus na yan, ganyan, ever na yan. Yung I was able to remember. I was able to remember because of the storytelling. Like, kaya lang may mga teachers, di ba, na parang, yun nga, you just you open your book, you read chapter 1, tomorrow your homework is you summarize it. Parang you're just going to sleep na lang naman. Tapos, yung frustration, yung teacher-centered talaga. Kasi ngayon, what I like most into teaching is, you go around, you let your students to do an activity, you let them reflect on what they had. So parang ganitong ginagawa natin. Hindi katulad dati parang nga ka na lang na parang you listen. If you will not listen, you will not understand. So yung parang ganun yung nangyayari dati. Tapos, yun nga, syempre kahit naman taga Manila kami, nakaranas din naman kami ng hindi nga lang luluhod sa munggo. Yung parang if you were not able to answer, you stay standing para kumbaga kung 50 kayo sa klase, napahiya ka ng lahat just because you were not able to answer. Eh minsan may mga teachers pa na gugulatin ka Parang nagulat ka. It happens na parang nagulat ka, you don't know how to answer it. Tapos parang for the entire, dati kasi 50 minutes lang 50 minutes, for the entire 50 minutes, parang gustong-gusto mo nang sumagot, wag ka na Parang ganun yung ginagawa ng teacher dati. So yun lang. Kaya siguro part of it, kaya masaya maging teacher ngayon. Tama si sir, masaya maging teacher ngayon. Because of the technology na magbubukas ka pa lang ng PowerPoint, wala nang matutulog Makita ka pa lang ng bata that you have LCD projector getting inside their classroom, wala na yan. They are all ready to listen. Yun yung maganda ngayon sa technology natin. Ayun. Thank you.
Okay, but there are still teachers who are doing that. When they ask their students to stand on a corner, di ba? But then it's no longer, it should not be done now, di ba? Because there is already what we call the bullying, anti-bullying, di ba? Pasok yan sa anti-bullying, the child protection policy. Okay. Okay, next group. Yes, sir. From that Mithing Pangandoy. Dapat lahat kayo sa grupo nakapagsalita.
Hello, good morning once again. Actually, while I was listening from the sharing of Sir, I say to myself that I am very much fortunate enough to belong to a school where my teachers actually do not inflict physical pain. So I am so thankful of that. Yeah, in my time also, because I actually belong to the 80s, something about my teacher that I really like most is my teachers actually do prepare instructional materials like visual aids or whatever. But what I hate most about that one is that the visual aid has been crowded with so many information, as in so many information that text may not that clear enough if you may be seated on the last part of the row. Something like that. Yes, yes. And plus, yun nga sir. Parang, anong tawag nga sir? Oh yeah, naka-roll. Yeah, ganon. Tapos, visual aids, visual aids supposedly does not dictate learning. As teacher, it only does half of our work. But in the case of my teacher, the visual aid does all of his work. Which means to say, after we are done copying whatever appears on the visual aid, that's it. It's over. So the good thing about it is that it teaches us to become more independent enough on the part of the teacher. We did our best to learn, not because of his style, not because of his potential, but because we are afraid to fail from whatever test that he may be able to give us. In other words, or in short, that style of the teacher is actually centered on what they call it one instructional materials. So centered, I mean teacher centered Japon. Yes. Something like that. Another one also is for our part now, the latest approach. I would say it's really very interesting, I know, because the approaches has been done in a varied way. We have technology, but what I am afraid of is that when students may not be guided properly because we become facilitators of learning in this current time. But what I am afraid about this one is that when they may not be guided whenever we are asking them to research about this on the net, you know, the net now contains so many information, zillions of information that it turned itself into a garbage already. Not all information appears on the net, may not that be credible enough, may not that be acceptable enough. And we ourselves, if we do not validate those information, we are somehow turning our students into garbage collectors. So maybe as teachers, we must have to be what we call the facilitative of learning. Yeah, that will be all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. What's your name, sir? What's your first name? Sir Genus? Jerox? Jerox? Genox? Genox. Okay, 80s pala si sir. 80s. Late 80s? O mid? Early 80s. Okay. Claro. Next. The next group to share. That from the church. Sir Anthony.
Okay. So napansin namin pareho naman pala tayo ng nung nangyari sa atin before yung classroom setting. Nandun nga na puro lecture si ma'am and then nakikinig lang yung mga bata. But one thing that I appreciate about my education when I was young is yung discipline, di ba po? Disiplinado talaga yung mga bata noon. Ang ano na lang talaga ngayon is how can we impose that discipline among our students nowadays, di ba? Ang laking challenge niya, yung tipong hindi mo pwedeng sigawan yung bata kasi you are, tawag dito, you are violating the right of the child. So yun, we had dictators then, pero somehow nag-benefit din tayo. What you like, what were your frustrations? So yun nga, very limited yung mga ano natin noon, hindi tayo pwede magsalita sa teacher. That's a sign of disrespect for them. So yun po yung sa amin.
Now, may I refer you to this scenario? This time, classroom scenario naman, the workplace. Okay, please open Appendix B. We have classroom scenarios. The Science and Health class, the scenario 1, the case of Miss Carillo's grade 6 class. And the other one is the case of Mr. Danao's grade 3 class. Okay, I'd like you to read this scenario. This time, who will take or who will choose the first scenario? So what group? Yes, din sa appendix. Appendix B, classroom scenarios. Okay, the case of Miss Carillo's grade 6 class will be tackled by the Transformers and the Torch. And then, is it Torch? Mithing Pangandoy. And then the Torch will tackle the case of Mr. Danao's grade 3 class and also Touching Lives. Okay? Read it quietly. And then reflect on the scenario, the classroom scenario. Okay? And then reflect, what is that scenario about? Ano sa tingin nyo? Anong nangyayari doon sa scenario? Classroom scenario na yon. Then after reading, you share it with your group mates. Okay, finished reading? Who would like to share here in front? Give the brief summary of the classroom scenario. And then what's your own personal reflection about it? Relate? Yes. The first. Tackle on the first. Then you have to share it. Because others did not read the first scenario. So you have to share. Then others also, those assigned in the second scenario, will also have to share for them to know, for you to know. Okay, volunteer? Okay, this time from the Mithing Pangandoy. Okay, Miss. Very good. Miss Dorothy. Si Ma'am Dorothy.
According to the story that we've read, they used a deductive method of teaching, wherein the teacher explains first. It is about a grade 3 class wherein the students learn about the nutrition, the food pyramid. So what the teacher did first is she identified what are these steps or what are the different types of food group, and then she lectured it first. And then afterwards, she showed a diagram on how much serving sizes should this be divided into. And then afterwards, the student application will be they listed down what are the items that they're eating on their daily activity. And then for 1 week, it runs like that. They have this journal wherein they write down what are their foods, what food groups they're eating. And then some even identified like burgers and pizza, so they're actually a mixture of bread and meat. So they still identify them. Afterwards, at the end of the activity of that week, they took the test for if the students really learned. So we call it student-centered because the student actually explored from what they learned from their teacher, they explored it into their self-base. So from that then on, they would understood it better because they experienced it afterwards, the lesson.
Okay, palakpakan natin yung Mithing Pangandoy. Is that the consensus of the group? Have you agreed with it? Okay, good. Next group, Ma'am Lorna. Ma'am Lorna. From the Transformers.
Okay. So at first, we thought na yung sa amin lang, but then we have to compare pala, so we have to read the other scenario also. So the first scenario, yung kay Carillo is that the assigned supposedly to us. It's more on teacher-centered siya. Because almost all the activities are coming from the teacher. They don't have any options. The second scenario, we like that because about the now. The use of technology in integrating technology, and because these are based from real life situations, they actually were assigned to maybe you know already yung grasps na tinatawag natin, where we use grasp, the goal, the role. So the students have the roles to play, their audience, and they even invited a doctor, I think. So it's based from the real life situation, which is, that's what we need right now because we want to develop lifelong learners, as we said. So we have to let them experience what it is in the real life. So, yun lang ba yung ano? Which of them have you used in the classroom? When I was teaching, but right now, hindi na kasi ako nagtuturo. When I was teaching, although sa RBEC pa lang, because I attended trainings before na yung SEC. I was a trainer during the SEC. This year, grade 9, I was also a trainer for grade 9. So, we do use the ano na, yung bago. Although sa fourth year, we still use the BEC. We are trying to parang inaano na namin, unti-unti para sa ganun matuto na rin yung ano. So I also ask my teachers to use GRASP in assessing. Yon. So, yan lang, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Miss Lorna, the Transformers Group. From the Transformers. Next. Kailang talaga magpalitan. Wala bang magta-transfer dito?
Sa scenario namin, Mr. Dayaws, ano yun? Danaus class. So, this is more on teacher, the teacher facilitates the learning. Now, he gives the activity to the students and let the student, yung palang ano rito, ang role ng students on the next few days, they will become nutritionists sa school nila. So, giving that scenario, the students were able to discuss among them and have the opportunity to research, to do their assignments, and find out some good nutrition in the net or in our technology today, so that they will come up with a good nutrition for the school. So everything are doing inside the classroom, they were so active participating the activity because the tasks were given to them, and the students love it to do their assignments because this is a collaborative effort, and then so they come up with a good result.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Kalimutan ko na naman. Sir Albert. Okay. Thank you. Palakpakan natin ang Touching Lives group. Kahit sila lang dalawa. Okay, so you see, meron pa palang isa from the church. Okay, sir. I see Sir Jack. Jack, saan si Rose? John pala.
Hello, good morning po. Sa amin, yung scenario number 2, the case of Mr. Danaus grade 3 class. So based on the content, yung content noong teacher on instruction is the basics of good nutrition. So basically, yung instruction na ginamit niya, Mr. Danaus, nagkaroon siya noong leveling of expectation. Sinabi niya sa mga estudyante what will be the expectations in the class regarding yung sa outputs nila. The instruction is basically, nag-set din siya ng objectives. So it's very important that the students would know the objectives of the instruction para makasunod sila doon sa nais ng teacher. At tapos yun, expectations on expected outcomes, diniscuss ni Mr. Danao yung what would be the expected outcomes. Then the instruction or the class basically is activity-oriented na merong sariling pacing yung estudyante. When it comes to the classroom environment, the classroom environment is not limited in the four walls of the classroom. Basically kasi pinapunta niya sa clinic, pinapunta niya sa canteen, no? Tapos personal experiences ng mga kinakain nila, like that, pina-assess niya yung nutrition nun. On assessment, kagaya na sinabi ni ma'am, gumamit si Mr. Danao ng GRASP activity kung saan isinet niya yung goal noong mga estudyante, which is to come up with a list of, to assess the different foods sa canteen and everything. Tapos yung role nila, they act as nutritionists, yung audience nila are the community, the students doon din sa then like that and so on and so forth. Then the assessment is basically multitasking. Nagsimula sila doon sa loob ng classroom on identification lang, pinalabas niya sila, pinag-research niya sila, pinag-compare ng mga estudyante yung dalawang types of food and like that. Tapos mayroong multiple assessment, different levels of assessment din, gumamit din siya noon. Tapos on technology yon, Mr. Danao's class uses different levels of technology on research, both electronic and print media kasi yung mga bata, hindi lang pina-consider ni Mr. Danao na ang source noong yung source, yung mga pagkukunan ng information, pwedeng babalik din sila sa library, pwede rin sa internet. So the class basically, sinasabi natin kanina, really focus on the total human development and experiential learning, na yung instruction must not be limited in the four walls of the classroom. Yung natututunan ng bata sa loob ng classroom, paglabas nila in the market, paglabas nila sa community, they must be able to apply it doon sa kanilang mga pang-araw-araw na buhay. Yan, ganun po. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Jan, from the church group. Kaya palakpakan natin ang lahat ng groups. Pabalik-balik yung pag-share nila. Very much productive. That's why you forgot your snacks. Okay. So, why were you able to which of the two scenarios you considered as teacher-centered? The first or the second? And which one or which scenario is considered as the student-centered? Okay, now let us try to find out why. So we have traditional teacher-centered instruction. So what takes place in a traditional teacher-centered instruction? Of course, the lecture is the most common teaching behavior, lecture method, found in the schools. Then teacher-centered instruction can be very effective, particularly for. So hindi natin sinasabi na dahil sa teacher-centered yun, hindi effective, di ba? Because in other cases, effective din siya. Pero ano ba talaga? Okay. So sharing information that is not easily found elsewhere. So kung hindi available sa bata yung resources, di ba? So wala tayong magawa, kundi you have to look for that resource and share this to our learners. And then, presenting information in a quick manner. Oh, especially if we are in a hurry to finish our plan, lesson plan. Especially if our principal is observing us, di ba? Then we are required to finish the course study in a limited time. And then generating interest in the information, and then teaching students who learn best by listening. Hindi naman maipagkakaila. May mga estudyante din na hikinig, di ba? Mas sa kanila kung tagapakinig lang sila. Quiet, pero maagap kung sumagap ng information. Okay? Magugulat ka na lang kasi naman to nagsasalita, pero tingnan mo pag nagte-test, high score, di ba? Okay, however, teacher-centered instruction also presents several challenges. What are these challenges? Not all students learn best by listening. It's so unfortunate that not all of them, we do not have to expect them to be active listeners. Ilang porsyento nga lang ba yung nasagap natin sa lecture? Ilang percent lang? Tapos yung iba nakakalimutan na natin, di ba? Di lalo na yung mga bata. Okay. Next, keeping students' interest is often difficult. And then the approach tends to require little or no critical thinking. And then the approach assumes that all students learn in the same impersonal way. Now, here comes the 21st century student-centered instructions. Okay, we have here the table, which is not intended to show a comparison of two opposing approaches, where one is more appropriate than the other. So, on the contrary, this table shows that both approaches can be appropriate depending on a particular situation. So, please read quietly. Okay, we have here the teacher-centered approaches and student-centered approaches. How do they differ as regards the content, as regards instruction, classroom environment, assessment, and technology? So ano ba talaga? These answers our question, ano ba talaga ang dapat? We'll have to do away from the teacher-centered, student-centered na lang palagi? Or, ano? Kaya, basahin natin. Read quietly. Okay, so as regards the content, what can you say about the teacher-centered approach? Okay, differentiate the two. What's the difference between the teacher-centered approach and student-centered approach as regards the content? O, dito tayo sa content. Yes, sir. Sir, approach, and then instruction, classroom environment. Yes, sir. Use microphone so it can be recorded.
Under the teacher-centered approach, the student study the same topic at the same time, while for the student-centered approach, the student have the opportunity to select the possible topics that they may be able to, to tackle for that specific day, wherein the choice are actually based on the comfort and the adaptability of the lesson as well.
Sir Albert, kaya Alberto.
Good morning. I'm from Bohol. Anyways, as we look at it, yung teacher-centered at saka yung student-centered, malaki yung diferensya ng dalawa. Kasi pagka sinasabi natin teacher-centered, ay lahat ng instruction nanggaling doon sa teacher. Nanggaling sa teacher. So lahat. So bali, magiging ang yung teacher pagka teacher-centered, na focus natin yung content. Hindi natin binibigyan ng pagkakataon yung mga bata according to their pacing, no? On the other hand naman, pagka student-centered, binibigyan natin ng pagkakataon yung mga bata, no? Na maibigay yung lessons natin, hindi na kita yung nagde-deliver. Ang ginagawa lang natin, we just become a facilitator in the classroom. So, andyan yung lesson, di ba? So, kailangan may facilitator, hindi yung you are the ones learning your lesson. Di ba? Pagka teacher-centered, marami kang alam kumpara mo doon sa estudyante. Pagka student-centered, nabibigyan mo na ng pagkakataon na sila yung mas maraming malalaman kasi binibigyan mo sila ng pagkakataon, you facilitate well, no? Mas maraming boses yung mga estudyante pagka student-centered kaysa teacher. So may di ba, may ginagawa tayo na konting instruction, tapos gawa na ng gawa yung mga estudyante natin. Tapos hindi natin dinidiktahan yung time limitation ng bata na kailangan gawin nyo in 15 or may time bound, di ba? Pero sa topics and lessons natin, kinakailangan hindi natin hinihigpitan. Hindi natin hinihigpitan kasi may mga bata na hindi naman nila nakukuha ng diretsahan. Di po ba? So binibigyan natin ng time pagka student-centered. Yun lang po sa amin.
Additional information? Yes, sir?
Let me play the devil's advocate here. We are seeing, as regard to content, we are already going towards the trend of the student-centered type of teaching. But there is also a flaw of the student type of teaching which is not reflected in the module. Kasi it's given that there are flaws in the teacher-centered, but there are no flaws in the module about the student-centered. one of the main flaws, I think, no, my opinion for the student-centered is that it is not that time-bound. It gives more time for discussion to the detriment of our PEL, to the detriment of the time, to the detriment of our lesson plans that the teachers in the front line are doing. Because if you are going to leave it to the students to do a lot of discussion, it's going to take a lot of time. And the teachers are being hurried, okay, first quarter exam, and these are still the topics that have not yet been discussed because the students are given the quality of time to do it. So as teachers, we are asked to tell these teachers, please hurry it up, because other schools, we have the NAT, we have a lot of activities which cuts into our teaching time. And as it cuts into the teaching time, you allow the student-centered technique, it's going to have a effect on the lessons. And it's going to affect the NAT. And since it's October, it's going to affect our PBB.
Tama. Okay, thank you, Sir Janry. More ideas? Anything to add?
We have a saying that 2 heads is better than 1. So the more the teacher-centered is the activity of the teacher, and then giving the lesson, the topic to be discussed, and give them the opportunity to work on the students. So they have able to come up with the connections of the topics and discuss it to the class. And we have also the saying that we hear but we easily forget. So just doing the lecture and madaling kalimutan. But doing the activity by the students, and they could easily learn. So this is so-called experiential learning.
And yes, that's true in student-centered instruction, right? But then as what Sir Janry said a while ago, there's danger in too much, say, relying on the student-centered instruction. Okay, anything more to add? Now, how about as regards instruction? Dito naman tayo sa pagtuturo. What's the difference between, or how would you differentiate teacher-centered instruction and student-centered instruction as regards instruction itself, yung pagtuturo? Sir Jose?
Okay. As regards to the instruction between the student-centered and the teacher-centered, in the student-centered, the teacher is always focusing that as a source of information, while in the pupil-centered, the teacher is the source of information, and that parang empty yung bata. Well, here in the teacher, on the other side of the coin, that's why in the motivation we use this what we call schema. No, we rely on the prior knowledge of the child before we deliver the lesson. If we try to think back of our Beck, no, we have this word thematic in the Makabayan and the content base. That's why in science we use English. In English we use science as a content, developing the skill, which is for the communication. In Makabayan, there is a tie-up between the subjects there, no, the Hekasi or the Araling Panlipunan with the MSEP. And this is now a good way in which I agree with Sir, no, that there is a loophole regarding the open. If we try to say that there is a varied source of information, but the teacher now has the right, that their obligation is to filter or just focus only on these are the coverage, no? Although we are not limiting to one source, but then there is what we call this, parang may mga relations naman, and it's up now for the learners to get the information which is related to the topic given by the teacher.
Okay, well said, Sir Jose. Additional information? Yes, ma'am?
Yung kanina po, meron kasi minention doon, it's the deductive and inductive method. So the deductive method is from the teacher, and then magti-trickle down siya of what is unknown to the known, and then the other one is um, unknown first, or yung what is familiar with others, and then sa kanya lang tutumbukin kung ano yung pinaka-topic niya mismo. With regards to instructions, with the teacher-centered, we are more of the lecturers, and we give the instructions as if, and then they just follow it. Parang sequencing lang. But with regards to student-centered, this is where rubrics came in, wherein you will give the freedom to the students to do whatever they wanted for the activity, but they are guided accordingly with the rubrics, wherein sa teacher-centered kasi pwedeng si ma'am lang ang mag-grade sa bata. Okay, nagustuhan ko yung decorations, yung design, sige, mataas ang grade, ganyan. Maganda yung handwriting ng visual aids, maganda yung design, mataas ang grade. But the contents are not actually, there could be bias by that one. With student-centered, with the use of rubrics, even the students could grade the other groups. So it could be a student-to-student grading. How would you rate your classmate according to the following categories? You give them 5 if they have met all the standards, and then 3, and then 2. So by that time, we could grade, they could know and assess themselves as well.
Okay. Thank you, Ma'am Dorothy. So you have already tackled on as regards the assessment, di ba? But here in the teacher-centered instruction, as regards instruction, you see the teacher is the sole, the information giver, di ba? Siya lang yung merong information na ibibigay sa estudyante. Whereas here in the student-centered instruction, the teacher as facilitator of learning. Okay. Now, how about as regards the learning environment? As regards the learning environment. Yes, ma'am.
For learning environment, very obvious na the student-centered is very talaga, yung parang nasa kanya yung magandang kasi if teacher will just talk and talk, so mangyayari magiging passive yung students. So doon nangyayari yung gap into learning, kasi there would be times na kahit sabihin mo that the students are really willing to learn, may time na if we're just going to talk for 40 minutes, magkakaroon ng gap na may hindi siya narinig, may hindi siya naintindihan because of na-bore na ba siya or may kumausap sa kanyang classmate and so on. Unlike ng student-centered, talagang everyone will be joining on what the activity is. So, yun yung yung environment, very obvious na ako, for me, mas pro ako doon sa student-centered. Ayun.
Okay, so it means that students learn collaboratively. They learn also from their peers, diba? Whereas here, in the teacher-centered instruction, yun, ang mga bata, quiet lang sila. Diba? Okay, quiet. Hands on the desk. Sino yung naka-experience na gano'n? Tapos gano'n naman. Yes. Tama.
We assume na lahat ng mga estudyante natin ay alam na nila yung klase natin. No? So, parang we develop din ng gap between the student and teacher kasi ang environment is very behave siya, quiet. So parang merong gap sa student na magtanong sa teacher na, ma'am, hindi namin alam yan. Unlike sa student-centered, we are free to do, we are free to move. Depende sa klase ng activity na pinagagawa ni teacher. We are free to shout. Oh? So, sa student-centered din, we are free to approach our teacher na, ma'am, ganito yung gusto namin. Oh, ganito yung gusto naming kalabasan.
More ideas? Now, how about assessment? As regards assessment. How would you differentiate the two? The teacher-centered instruction and student-centered instruction. I think it was already mentioned.
Although it's already mentioned, in a teacher-centered classroom, usually the assessment is traditional, the pencil and paper test. Kasi nga, the teacher is the sole ng knowledge. So, gusto niya, kung ano yung gusto rin niya, yun din ang lalabas doon. But in a student-centered classroom, assessment is a combination of traditional and non-traditional. As mentioned earlier, we use grasps. So, although mas burdensome, mas tiring yung work on a student-centered classroom because you have to prepare rubrics, you have to prepare different kinds of assessment for different kinds of students or intelligences. So yun, and our assessment under a student-centered classroom is more authentic, real life yung yung assessment natin. So, unlike in a traditional classroom, yun nga, what the teacher wants, yun yung lalabas. Kung ano lang yung gusto na, yun ang lalabas. And usually, ang natetest lang in a traditional classroom is the knowledge, more of the knowledge of the students, hindi yung application nila, hindi yung the higher ordered understanding, yung understanding nila for the lessons. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ma'am Lorna. Any additional information? Okay, it's simply in the teacher-centered instruction, it's the pencil and paper test, di ba? Tapos, the students will not know. Okay, but the test, si teacher lang yung may alam. Okay, whereas in the student-centered instruction, it's there's collaboration. And both are accountable for their learning. Tapos alam nila, yung teacher and student. And then it's a shared effort. As we'll have to design that rubric. So students know how they are being graded. Diba? How they are rated. Kaya na pa. Now, as regards technology. As regards technology. As regards technology, how do you differentiate teacher-centered instruction and student-centered instruction? Yes, sir. Sir Jose, from the church group.
I think you have also observed this in several demonstration lessons of the teachers in different schools. The teacher is using the PowerPoint presentation. There is a laptop. There is technology that is present, but it is not integration. That ICT is only an aid for instruction. When it comes to integration, the learners should be the one to hold the technologies. Example, by just moving the mouse on the screen, filling up, just like what we have done here, no? That we are submitting our assignments through email. We are not already using the paper pencil one, but we have to type on the Word document or on the spreadsheet. That is integration. So I think this is also one thing that the 21st century should learning is advocating. That technology should not be used as an support instructional material, but the learner should be the one to hands-on with those technology, and that the teacher only facilitates what's the learner should doing.
Okay, thank you, sir. Jose, do you have additional information? Additional ideas? So it's true. So it's not because, it's not that just because we use the computer, okay, we are already student-centered. No. Okay? If we use computer, okay, as an aid in our instruction, it will not guarantee us that we are already student-centered. What is important is for the students themselves to do it, to discover, then to enrich the lesson out of experience. Have them experience using the computer. Have them experience, say, learning the lesson through the use of technology. then put it in their real life situations, right? Okay, but as I have said a while ago, we do not mean to compare the two. We just differentiate. The aim of the Getting Started course here is not to say that mas maganda or mas mabuti or mas recommended tong student-centered. Hindi. It is said here that good teachers recognize that there is more than one way to teach and that different situations often require different teaching practices. Again, different situations require different teaching practices. So accordingly, this course incorporates elements of traditional teacher-centered instruction along with elements of 21st century student-centered instructions. So although differences exist between the two approaches, research indicates that 21st century student-centered approaches can enhance a traditional teacher-centered instruction by providing a purposeful and meaningful context for which students can master their emerging skills. So in other words, it's up for us teachers how to have that good marriage between the traditional and student-centered instruction. So, dapat kasali yan sa plan natin. Okay, we should know when to apply this teacher-centered instruction and when also to apply this student-centered instruction. Although, nasa research naman, mas naka-indicate doon na mas effective tong student-centered instruction. Get it? In the same way na there is no such thing as the best method of teaching. After all, it's still at the hand of the teacher himself or herself how to carry or how to be able to translate that information, the subject matter taught to his or her students. Diba? Do you have questions? Questions pa? Okay, congratulations. We have finished the module 1. Okay. Now, you have your assignment. You have to answer the reflection in module 1. But before we proceed to module 2, we'll first have the module summary. Okay. Module summary. What did you accomplish in this module? Please answer page 19 of your module. What have you accomplished in this module? And then what are the key points addressed in this module? What have you accomplished in module 1?
We learned a lot from module 1, considering we have seen what are the necessary skills that is needed for us teachers to be equipped as 21st century pedagogy as we deliver the pedagogy. Now, we also have to think that we are sometimes not on the level with our students because there are things that they know more in terms of the use of the computer than majority. No? Most of us here, gathered here as some of the representatives of the different division, you are already beyond the ordinary capacity of a teacher in terms of the use of ICT. in my training as one of the national trainers for ICT of TLE, I even had a chance to observe teachers having their mouse fall from the floor, and they're afraid that if they're going to pull the mouse, there is a light, they're going to put it back. So I saw one teacher doon sa sahig, nag-continue ng mouse. Kasi baka masira yung pag ganun. There are some teachers who are using the computer who cannot even see. Sir, ano ho ito? And we used, I don't know if anyone here has been trained for the ICT TLE. We used computer-based exams. And it is time-bound. For example, once you click, there is 10 seconds or 30 seconds that you read, and then next quiz. Majority of them failed because they do not know how to use the OK button. Sir, paano ito? Na time's up. So, as teachers, we need to equip ourselves because sometimes we lag from the students. And it is now our role, thanks to InfoTeach, that we are here to cascade that learning to a higher level. Because it is one of the things that is needed for us to become 21st century teachers. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Well said, Sir. Additional ideas? Okay, what are the key points addressed in this module? Key points. What are these key points?
So we have learned that student-centered and teacher-centered approaches shouldn't be compared nga. We should just know when are we going to use the teacher-centered kasi not all instructions, not all lessons that we're going to teach will be using student-centered. Not all will be using teacher-centered. So we should know how to be equipped of.
Okay, that's one of the key skills. What is important is that we know how to combine the teacher-centered and learner-centered approach. Combine. Parang hindi naman puro lang, di ba? So there are times also that we need to adopt that teacher-centered. But as I've said, combination of the two. Okay, that's one of the key skills. You are able to differentiate the teacher-centered and student-centered instruction. Another key skill. Pa, tututunan nyo. Yes, so we're able to identify the essential skills. The essential skills for our students to be able, or graduates to be able to survive in the 21st century workplace. Diba? Okay, another key skill. Okay, so you were able to compare, right? The classrooms of today, classrooms before and that of today, diba? How you were taught before, and then what were your frustrations, and what were those things you liked best also. So that ends our Module 1. Let's proceed to Module 2. So it's learning computer basics and the internet. But as I have said, we just have to run through on this module. Technology literacy involves being able to use technology, such as computers, to communicate, solve problems, and collect, organize, and share information. So this course provides many hands-on opportunities for you to explore and discover how to use the computer to write word processing, to create presentations, multimedia, and to solve mathematical problems, spreadsheets. So the objective of this module is for you to learn the basic components of a computer, discover the fundamentals of an operating system, and develop internet navigation skills. Now, please go over on the pages 21 to 25. Okay? Okay. Naming the parts and moving the mouse. Do we need to discuss each? Of course, you know how to do that already. You know what are the parts of the computer. Okay, your mouse. Are you using the mouse? Or using the mice? Madaming yung ginagamit na mouse, yung isa lang, mice pag dalawa or more. Ayan. Okay, so what are the parts of the computer? Working with the operating system, your computer has one main program called the operating system, which controls almost everything your computer does. So the operating system controls the information that the CPU receives from the keyboard or mouse. Then the operating system transfers the information to the software you are running. So after the software processes the information, the operating system displays the information on the monitor. So Microsoft Windows is a popular operating system for many personal computers. Whenever you turn on your computer, Windows starts automatically. After your computer starts up, the computer's desktop will be displayed on the monitor screen. The desktop has small pictures or icons. You know that already, right? Then search the internet. If you would like to find out the latest advisory from DepEd, to which site are you going to go to? Are we going to okay. Huh? Okay, www.deped.gov.ph. So we should know that. Okay. Now, if we would have to locate the one of the resources, okay, from Intel Help Guide. So we'll just have to type www.intel.com education.ph. Okay, /education/ph is there in your end. Okay, what else? Okay, let's proceed to the, do you have things to add or to comment on Module 2? What is Module 2 about? Okay, Module 2 is all about the basic computer. Okay, all of the things you need to know on computer and also how to use the internet. Now, what key points are addressed in Module 2? In this module, what key points are addressed in this module? Components of basic computer. Kasi inaano to, just in case you come up with, or you have, do not presume that lahat ng mga teachers ay alam na nila, di ba? Okay, so kailangan ninyo isa-isahin. You have to follow the exercises here. Have them test or identify the basic parts of the computer. And test them also as regards how to locate the information from the internet. But of course, you have to provide resources. In the same way that you do not just have to assign topics to our students. Okay, for our students to really be guided as to what to do, you give them specific sites. Okay. Now let's proceed to, in this module also, you'll be introduced to the use of the help guide. Help guide. Do you have your computer with you? Meron kayo dyan, di ba? Okay, later, bibigyan ko kayo ng, if we have internet connection, if you can access to internet, download the offline version of the help guide. Intel Help Guide. Intel Help Guide. So what is this about? So you know in this course, or Intel does encourage all of us teachers to facilitate learning to our students. So once the students experience that difficulty, okay, or say, nahirapan sila, okay, what you're going to do is, you do not have to directly, teach them. Parang somewhat like spoon feeding. Do not do that. But lead them to get there. Diba? Okay. Allow them to collaborate with their peers, to ask, to get information from their peers. And then, introduce them also to another resource. Okay, in this module, in this case, Okay, if they experience difficulty as regards the application of the technology or as they go along with their technology products, then direct them to the help guide, Intel Help Guide. Okay. Now, you don't need to, or the students need not use internet for them to access the help guide. But you teachers will have to secure the copy of this help guide. There is also an offline version for this. You just have to download it. Okay. Now let's proceed to Module 9. Module 9. Fostering critical thinking and collaboration. Engaging students in higher order thinking and promoting collaboration are two key behaviors found in student-centered 21st century classrooms. So the objective of this module is to have you understand how to cultivate higher order thinking in students, develop skills for promoting and facilitating collaboration, and become familiar with the structure of each activity, a 4-step iterative cycle of plan, do, review, and share. Now, please open your manual or module on page 34. Now, may I ask you or request you to please go to your original, say, place. Okay. So, critical thinking is a key 21st century skill for students. So, as a 21st century teacher, you must be knowledgeable about processes that help students grow into good thinkers. So educational research have long recognized that there are types of thinking with different levels of complexity. So many models exist to help teachers identify and categorize thinking skills. Are you familiar with Benjamin Bloom's taxonomy of thinking skills? What are they? They are divided into two, the lower order thinking skills and the higher order thinking skills. But before we proceed to that activity, we'll first have an activity which is identifying the top discoveries and inventions. Okay, read quietly page 35 and answer the activities here, step by step. Okay, have a list of 10 discoveries and inventions. Then do steps 1 to 5 on pages 35 to 36. Now this time we have to have another grouping, set of groups. Okay, count off this time. Di ba kanina, identify color, your favorite color. This time, you have to count off. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Okay, all ones, will you please stay here? 1, group 1, then group 2, group 3, and group 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, you may sit down now. You may settle yourselves in one table. Or kung gusto nyo ano yun yung tables. Okay, so here's what you're going to do. If you have listed already the top 10 discoveries and inventions, you try to compare your answers with that of your group mates. Then be able to follow the steps. Okay, the first step, will you please read from group 1? The first step. Yes. Okay, group 2, the step 2.
Positive and 3 negative impacts of that discovery or invention. Use the internet to find one piece of evidence to support either the positive or negative impact of the discovery or invention you choose. Write your answers and share as directed.
Okay, next, step 4. Next, group 3. Group 3.
Step 3, use the same discovery or invention and spend the next 3 minutes thinking about the following questions. How might our lives be different if this invention never existed? Write your answers and share it as directed.
Okay, step 4. The fourth group.
After hearing all the answers to steps 1 through 3, work in a small group to discuss the question. Is there any scientific discovery or technological invention that you think should not be pursued? Why or why not? Write your answers and share as directed.
Step 5. What did you notice about your thinking processes as you progressed through the questions? How did the first set of questions help you to discuss the last couple of questions? Write your answers and share as directed.
Okay, so which steps have you already accomplished? Of course, the individually. Diba? So which steps? Steps 1, 2, have you done this already? Or not yet? Individually, and then afterwards, you share with your group. Okay, this time, you have to share with your group members this question, the answer to this question. Is there any scientific discovery or technological invention that you think should not be pursued? Why or why not? Pero yung una, isi-share ninyo sa kagrupo ninyo kung ano yung, di ba, meron kayong individual answers. Then, as a group, come up with 10 answers agreed upon by all the members of the group. Okay, bali, di ba, sa apat ninyo dyan, meron kayong 40. Then, come up with 10 discoveries and invention. Okay, common answer. And then, the next, identify, this is the task of the group already. Scientific discovery or technology or technological invention that you think should not be pursued. Why or why not? Okay, palakpakan natin ang group 2. The first participation as a group.
Okay,
Ibang
good
group.
morning. Good. Almost lunchtime na pala. Okay, our discoveries, we have, it's better kasi kung first kasi hindi na makopy ng iba. Number 1, we have nuclear technology. Number 2, genetic modification. 3, we have the propulsion technologies. 4, biological weaponry, biological warfare. Warfreak na yung mga grupo namin. Tapos 5, communication technology. So saan dito ang hindi ipupursue? In each of this side, there's always 2 sides to a coin. We choose among the 5, which is not to be pursued, is the biological warfare. But considering that is for war, but there's also a bit of good for biological warfare for us. Kasi we can use it against the mosquitoes, the development of technologies to counteract the different disease. We can learn. We can learn through the use of the pathogen. We can be able to control the disease itself. But of course, there is always the pros and cons to the different technologies that you have. For example, in nuclear technology, it can be used for powering up cities. It can also be used for destruction. Genetic modification, we can also say that we can be able to produce more crops since we are already here at UPLB. But it can also be used for negative things like producing seedless types of grains, which after it's eaten, it cannot be planted unless you have to buy again. Propulsion technology, it can be used for missile technology, which can be used as an agent for the missiles for biological warfare. One of the things that would be more positive on our group would be the advancement of communication technology. So that's the more positive would be the communication technology. The negative side that we would not really pursue would be biological weaponry. Thank you.
Next group. Group 1. Okay, palakpak sa group 1. Sir Alberto.
So ito po yung group 1. So yung mga inventions at saka discoveries. Ito po yung telephone, computers, television, automobile. Ano po to ma'am? Cotton, gin. Tapos camera, steam engine, sewing machine, light bulb, and penicillin. So, yung pinaka-top namin dito ay itong kino-consider namin itong computer. So, may positive at saka negative side na nakalista dito. So, babasahin ko muna yung positive. Made our work easier. Run machines which lessen manpower services, and allows easy access to information and communication. Yung negative side, ng computer, isa dito, people are exposed to virtual interaction rather than personal. Second, it does not develop social skills. Yes. Pangatlo, it exposes young people to adverse content, yung mga pornography. Namumulat yung yung mga bata sa mundong makatotohanan. And other immoral things. So, maraming content po sa internet na hindi natin na-filter. Tapos hindi natin na-guide yung mga bata kung anong i-browse, anong content dapat. Hindi naman natin pwedeng sunod lang tayo ng sunod sa mga kabataan natin. No? And yun po ma'am. Ano po ba? So those are the positive and negative. And one other thing, additional ko lang, itong light bulb. Itong light bulb. Nakikita naman natin anong kahalagahan nun. With the advent of electricity, nung na-discover, tapos na-imbento yung light bulb, doon nagsisimula yung computer, sir. Yung konsepto ng computer. Kasi mula doon sa light bulb, yung mga semiconductors na, di ba? Light bulb, nagiging triode, nagiging cathode, ray, tapos yung electronics, doon ang galing sa simpleng light bulb. Tapos mula doon, nagiging microprocessor na. So, meron na tayong computer. So, yun. Parang yata hindi ko maisip, ma'am, kung may negative ba sa light bulb. Kasi nai-enjoy natin. Hanto sa gabi, sir. Katong papalong-palong.
Okay, thank you, Sir Alberto. Okay, from group 3. Si Sir, ay, ano?
Napagkasunduan po nilang ako. May botohan. Anyway, our top 10 would include, of course, light bulb, airplane, solar panel, telephone, batteries. Eto, mahalaga daw to, diapers. Malaki raw yung pinagbago because of diapers. And then, of course, we have car, windmills, vaccine, and computers, of course. Ano pa ba? Yeah. The one that we chose is the same with them, light bulb. Yun nga, so advantages, it is very obvious. It lights up the whole place. Ano yung sabi natin, sir? It lights up the whole place. It plays a big role into the evolution of computers. And then, the disadvantage, kita ka sa CCTV kasi nga may ilaw. And the use of energy, of course. Sometimes it emits heat. But nowadays kasi, from the poisonous contents of the light bulb, it now evolved into something more safer, eco-friendly, and mas malakas yung illumination niya. For those things that should not be pursued, we are anti-nuclear. So nuclear bomb, nuclear power plant, and factories using fossil fuels. Because we think we should more invest on renewable resources. Kaya puro windmills, solar panels, yung mas pinapursue namin.
Thank you. Kalimutan ko yung pangalan ni ma'am. Ay, Dorothy. Kasi nag-change na ng group. Kalimutan ko na din. Okay. Thank you, Group 3. Now, Group 4. Si Sir Albert.
From our list, we have computer, social media, and books, paper, pencil, telephone, television, vacuum tubes, radio, camera, and Wi-Fi. From the list, ang isa sa mga ayaw na namin ay tanggalin, ang gusto namin tanggalin is the vacuum tube because of the yung electricity kasi rito na ginagamit masyadong mataas. So with the invention of the LED or LCD, na minimize natin yung paggamit ng electricity. And that's top of the list yung mga tatanggalin namin. Ay, list. Isa lang. Pero, siguro itong nahirapan kami magtanggal ng ano kasi based on the demand ng society, I think these are needed because especially in the workplaces, kailangan ito mga computers, lahat ng nasa listahan namin dito.
Okay, thank you, Sir Albert. Palakpakan natin ang Group 4. Palakpakan natin ang lahat ng grupo na nag-participate. Okay, what do you notice on the progression of the questions on the activity you had a while ago? Alin doon sa steps ang pinakamadaling sagutan? Okay, the first one. Why? Because you were just simply asked to have a list of those top 10 technological inventions. And then, yung pangalawa, the second step. Wait. Bakit madali lang sa inyo nasagutan yun in the first step? Why? Yes. Okay, so you see, simply recalling, di ba? Okay, it's easy. It's easy to answer, especially if you are just asked as to what you know. Okay, even before you have to recall on something, naaalala mo. Okay, the next question. Mahirap ba? Was it difficult? Oh. Mabigat ba? Were you able to answer right away? Was it easier than the first step? Oh? Kaya ano nang ginawa niyo in the second step? Kasi nalista niyo na yung 10 eh. Ha? Okay, nag-weigh na kayo. Na-identify ninyo what are those positive and negative. Okay, those which have the positive impact and also the negative impact. Diba? So, ito na. Pahirap na ng pahirap. The third step. The third step. Ano na nangyari sa third step? Madali lang din ba ang sagutan? How might our lives, diba, be different if those were not invented? Diba, madali lang ba? How might our lives be different? Paano kaya kung hindi na-invent yun? Walang computer. Ano? Paano ba kaya?
Our place was severely devastated by Typhoon Yolanda. And I was amazed na maraming mga bata talagang nagko-complain, walang kuryente, walang amenities. Ganito na yung gap ng generation na ngayon at saka noon. Pinaalala sa atin ng kapaligiran na talagang wala. Imagine for 3 months walang kuryente sa amin. Lahat kasi backdown eh. Yung Meralco nga, doon na pumunta sa Western Visayas. Kasi kung makikita mo, at saka Yolanda is the most destructive typhoon ever recorded in the whole world. Lahat, no? Even our school is only 10% yung natira. So dito namin nakita na talagang lahat ng complaints, talagang mahirap, no? Kahit kami naman, no? Siguro kahit na yung mga matatanda, talagang so ganito talaga ang nangyayari sa buhay pag wala itong lahat ng inventions. And bumalik talaga kami sa primitive life.
Okay, so you see, napapaisip tayo, di ba? Okay. So hindi gaya nung una na agad-agad nakasagot tayo. Okay, next. The next step. What's the next step? Oh. Okay, this time, you were asked to answer if there is any scientific discovery or technological inventions that you think should not be pursued. And to think that you have different answers. And then you have to come up with 3 answers. Okay, I understand that you had that difficulty of deciding upon because you need to reason out. You need to give your valid reason. You need to convince your group mates na yun dapat. Right? Okay. Na kung sino yung may sagot na parang is tama, makonvince sila, syempre. Okay. That's why you were able to share all of those, the top 3, na sa palagay ninyo ay hindi dapat na ipupursue. Well, there is no such thing as good or right answers here. But what we are trying to point out is that this is how we construct questions as teachers. Okay. So we have to think what kind of questions do we raise to our students? Do we have we have to pose our students for them to be able to develop that higher order thinking skills. You see, we do not only focus on the lower thinking skills, diba? Lower order thinking skills, but consider the higher order thinking skills as we try to develop in them that critical thinking skills.